Welcome back to the VR Chronicles. Today's show is going to be an outstanding show. We're doing a show on back stories. Comeback stories are one, they're inspirational. Two, you can learn from them. And three, man, they're powerful. You know, in human history, things were passed down through story time, story format. When you were a kid, going to bed at night and your parents told you a story, or you told stories at a campfire with your friends. The power of storytelling is so powerful. We see it in movies, we see it in books, we see it on podcasts and radio shows. Stories, right? So today's story is going to be a powerful story. But before we get started, check out our YouTube channel, The VR Chronicles. Please press that subscribe, like, and share. It is free to support us. We ask you to support me. Also, you can catch me on Apple and Spotify. Press that follow button. You'll never miss an episode there. Today, we're interviewing a former professional basketball player who played in the European leagues, a former Army chaplain assistant. He served in the Army. I served with him overseas in South Korea in the same organization. His name is Andrew Deacus, and he is now a missionary in the Dominican Republic. His story is going to be so powerful, guys. It's there to inspire, it's there to teach, and it's there to reorient your situation. So if you're going through a bad situation, this story is going to be a good story for you. Hey, what's up, Andrew, man? Welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Always good to be on here with you, brother.
Yeah, man. So, today's topic of the day is comeback stories. And, guys like you and me, we have great comeback stories. And the purpose of this is to, like, if you're listening to this, whether you're on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, or you're in a car driving, or you're actually watching on YouTube, if you're listening and watching this, this is for the people who is like in the valley right now. They're on a slump, and we want you to take this story, use it to edify you, and just take this, man, and use what was hurting you right now, what's bringing you down, as fuel to bring you out of your slump. So, Andrew, man, take it away, brother.
Yeah, man. Well, again, thank you for having me here on the show, Victor. Man, I have a lot of respect for you, man, and love for you. We are brothers in arms, United States Army. We go way back, so it's an honor to be on here with you again. And I look forward to what the Lord's going to do. But I'm a missionary and apostle here in the Caribbean, the Dominican Republic. I first came here in 2022 as a missionary with another organization, FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and then came back the next year and started my own ministry here, Incorruptible Love Global Ministries. And it's just been a journey. Anytime you start anything, a business or a ministry, those first couple of years are going to be difficult, and I do have one particular story that I'll share, but I'm going to say that being a missionary, being in ministry, any form of missionary, any form of ministry is going to be difficult because you're going to be dealing with people. You're going to have problems. You're going to be dealing with spiritual warfare. You're going to be dealing with ups and downs. But having strong faith and perseverance, discipline, resilience, very important, not only in ministry, but in life. So one particular story was last year. Vic, man, one of the toughest years, man, I will say, just going through, in the beginning of the year, going through a bad breakup with a woman who I had been dating for 8 months and did have plans to go into courtship and marriage, but we didn't get to that point. But it was a bad breakup. She, that kind of ended in a little bit of betrayal. But when it leaked into my family, my personal family that I come from, that's when it got worse. So after the breakup with the young lady, I continued just in ministry, tried to take a little time off, but continued ministry. And the main story I want to share here is going into that well, all that year and the previous year, we were dealing with when I say we, my family back home, we were dealing with the probate process because we had lost my oldest brother. He died in 2022, the end of 2022, December. So we've been going through this probate process to settle his estate and accounts and all this stuff, and we're all supposed to get a certain share and all that. That wasn't my biggest concern. I just would always want my family to be doing so. But yeah, so things kind of took a turn towards the end of the probate process.
You you
Um,
know, can I jump in real quick?
yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Isn't it funny how anything dealing with assets, money, whether they're family or people you may have known for a long time, it
Yeah,
always kind of like brings out the really ugly side of people.
yeah. I
It
would say
really,
the real side.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, brother. I would say the
Yeah.
real side, man. The tough thing is that, for me, I never changed the whole, I've always been Andrew, the same kind of person in our family. Not perfect. None of us are perfect, right? But I've been pretty consistent in my character, and they've seen that. But when it was time to handle this, the settlement, I saw some shady behavior from my family. So, mind you, this is the same year I went through my little breakup earlier with the woman I was dating. They knew about it, and there were some there were some things spoken about, my character because I'm a minister. Uh, I think that my ex was telling my family that I was this and that and had this problem, that all this stuff. So my family had already um, been hearing that from that outside source. So that wasn't making it any better. But anyway, aside from all that,
She was trying to assassinate your character.
basically, yeah, yeah. Aside from all that, later on that year, last year, 2025, um, I was still progressing in ministry, right? We were still impacting people by God's grace. We were still moving forward. I was still growing the organization. I was still hiring people, working with me part-time and helping me with the work and taking care of their salaries. I was doing all that. And we were growing, right? And we're still growing by God's grace, as we pray and serve. But your progression in life sometimes will irritate people who set certain limits on you.
Mm,
Unfortunately, when friends or family members have a certain perception about you, where they see you going in life or what you can do, when they think, oh, you're not going to succeed in that, and you succeed, right? Um, you can really begin to see people's true um, character and thoughts concerning what they think about you when things get real. Is what I'm trying to say. When you begin to succeed past expectations, when you continue to work hard and don't quit at whatever goal or endeavor you have.
right.
And that's basically what it was. And what I was saying regarding the probate money was that money obviously would help all of us. And
Mm,
it would be split between us. And for me, I was like, hey, because my oldest brother was handling the account and settling everything. I said, well, yeah, they were asking questions. They were asking questions to everybody. I was like, yeah, that money's going to help us in ministry. It's going to help us continue to grow and expand the work that we're doing. And sometimes when you're doing work and you're the founder, you're the CEO, you're the one who's doing everything, and they see that they've never seen you so focused, right? This is the same year. Last year, I graduated seminary with my master's in Christian leadership and all that stuff. So, you know, um, this was the beginning of what I like to call a fallout that I had with my family last year. Big fallout. And I was, generally pretty close to my family. I enjoyed them. So I thought, I was
yeah.
nice to them and respectful. never dishonored any of my family members. So this is the first time to where things took a bad turn, right? So I basically had my oldest brother, my only sister, and my other brother, surviving brother, right? My three siblings basically rise up against me, assassinate my character, try to basically make that completely false allegations, fabrications about who I am, what I'm capable of, and basically say, "Oh yeah, he can't get his part of the money because of this reason." So they just were trying to, because they knew that the money was going to help us in ministry. Obviously, in ministry, you need all the money you can get so
Right.
you can do it, right? So they basically lied. Were lying to others, to authorities about all types of stuff, man.
Let,
try,
let, let me, before you continue,
yeah,
um, I'm definitely, I have siblings as well. I got a brother and a sister as well. I'm the oldest in my family. It's just the only difference, but um, it hit different when it's like your blood
yeah, brother.
sticking that knife in the back. It
Yeah,
hit
it was. Yes, sir. It's blood because it's like people you grew up with.
there, but like it's almost like by default, they should be the people that in a perfect world, you show up on Christmas or whatever, and it's like I'm home with my people, my
Right.
family. We could be ourselves, right?
Yeah.
And in this case, it was that trust that was violated, and that had to feel terrible, man, especially on the mental.
Yeah, brother. I mean, because we've gone through enough. We got enough scars, man. We've been through so much already. I and it's unfortunate, and but that's not even all. And then I had some personal conversations with my little brother, who is also supposed to be a believer, a Christian, and he's called it, bro. They're getting so aggravated by my success. So I'm not gonna say that, but they're getting so
It's
aggravated by my success that
what's that
that-
what's that word in the Old Testament when someone you like you want what your neighbor has? I forgot the
yeah.
phrase. Like it's just like,
Oh,
you know, you're
coveting.
coveting your neighbor right now, your own
Yeah,
brother. Goodness
yeah.
gracious.
And it's crazy. The first couple of years, all the hard work, and when you're finally starting to have some shine, a little bit of shine, and I'm like, bro, where were you when I was in Dallas serving the homeless under the bridge?
Right.
When I was taking the homeless in my home
Mm.
and ministering to them, praying over them, making meals and taking care of people who are strangers for weeks. Like, where were you when I was serving in the local church, when I was doing all these other things? And now when things are trying to go well for me, like, where were you when I bought your kid
Mm.
shoes, as a gift? And I showed up to his basketball game. And you know what I'm saying? So it's like, how you gonna do me like that, man? But that's something I realized, man. People, and this is why I don't talk to them to this day. I've forgiven them. Matter of fact, brother, I was fasting and praying this morning. I was mentioning them in my prayers.
Mm.
It's because real love will continue to love. Real love endures past all this stuff because we have God's spirit within us. So we're always going to love, and even if that means from a distance.
Hmm.
But to protect our energy, to protect our minds, to protect ourselves, we have to remove ourselves from your space. Even if that means we don't talk anymore. That's cool. And again,
I
for
mean,
people
that's
who,
wise because, bro, even
yeah,
Jesus, he did it. Like, he
yeah,
had inner circle, then he had, the rest of the disciples. I mean, he knew who he could be, on the inside with. You got to have
exactly.
that emotional intelligence. Got to use that wisdom.
Yeah, exactly. Because if they reveal themselves like this, they'll do it again. You
Hmm.
know, they'll do it again. And but more than anything, it just shows who they really are and what they've always thought. There's always been some people could actually have more than you, regarding a wife and kids and this and that, and still be somewhat jealous of you, jealous of your energy, jealous of your how, how you are, your mentality, how you're built. And it only takes the right opportunity for that true feeling to come out. So it's like, man, and that's why, man, Vic, I work so hard to keep my heart pure,
Right.
towards people. Because when you're, a single guy like a Paul or a Titus or a Timothy, and you're called to lead, you
Mm-hmm.
have to be, yeah, you have to be above reproach. And that means I'm watching my
Yes.
purity and I'm watching my thoughts, my mind. So, you know, but
You,
yeah,
you
so
know what, bro? I think just like to apply this in like maybe every form of relationship, with its friendships, your family members, maybe
yeah,
significant others, or you're pursuing,
yeah,
maybe using conversations about finances, money, assets, it's a good tester. Like, okay, how are these people will respond? Like, what do they believe about these things, and what can I expect? Like, if you can kind of just do a tester, like, okay, if when times are tough, how likely are they to act a certain way versus be
yeah.
supportive, be the rock? I mean, I think it's a good litmus test, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, for sure. Um, for sure, because in life, many different circumstances are going to arise, and what's really on the inside of you will always come out.
Right.
So, but yeah, like I was saying earlier, my little brother, even who I really trusted because he's a believer, and we're supposed to be closer. He's calling my friends and talking about my personal life. Like, again, this is a time where I'm growing in the ministry and doing well. So that's why it's baffling. It's like you're making all these accusations at a time to where I'm making accomplishments. I'm exceeding your expectations that you thought of me, because you didn't agree with me leaving the States and becoming a missionary. First of all, you're not a Christian. If you're a Christian, then you might understand, right?
Right. Right.
But yeah, so yeah, basically, I had to deal with separation from family who were basically persecuting me. That's what it boils down to. That's the story.
Mm-hmm.
Persecution from family, people you trusted and loved, and how to bounce back from that. And for me, I just went to prayer because my heart was broken. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm a man of God, so
Yeah.
I love these people. I've been praying for these people, covering them in prayer for years, and you know, I felt the betrayal. Because it wasn't about the money. I got the money. It's more so about what they were, what they really are, and what they were.
Mhm.
A lack of respect, a lack of just honor. Kind of. So as men, you know how it is as men. We're men of honor, men of respect. We don't play around with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, just bouncing back from that family persecution can be big. That's the story. And for me, it's just, I didn't change much, Victor. I have a very strong personal relationship with God. So I just,
Yeah.
I shed some tears for them. But it was a
Is
couple of days.
only natural.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it was a couple of days, especially my little brother. But I read the story of Joseph also. Joseph and his brothers, kind of what they did, and realized that many of us today were modern day Josephs. And we got to just continue in prayer, man.
You
We
know
are,
about that story, and it's a
yeah,
pretty graphic story. They
yeah,
literally human trafficked their own brother into forced work slavery.
yeah.
That's
After,
crazy.
after they put him in there, they sat down to have a meal. That's the funny thing.
That's
They, they,
crazy.
they sat down to have a meal right after, and then they lifted him out and sold him. Like they, what I'm saying, they really had a hate for him.
That was cold. That was cold, man.
Yeah. But
You're
on
right.
Joseph's end, being 16, 17, and kind of running your mouth like that to your older siblings, that was also like,
He was
you may have want to kept that one to yourself, but it was all God's plan.
yeah.
Um, so, but it's
It,
life, man.
it is. It's life. And so, like, all right. we covered, especially as men, respect and loyalty is like hard value systems, right? That most men have, generally most men.
Yeah.
Um, what would you say was your biggest takeaway from this really hard experience you had to kind of walk through and just kind of go all the way through until you came on the other side? What's the biggest takeaway that you're going to use moving forward for yourself?
Biggest takeaway, I would say, from this story is just, man, it's hard to say with this particular situation with family. Just do your best to, no matter what happens in life, try to have a heart that forgives.
Mm,
'Cause,
mhm. Yeah,
I didn't do everything right in response.
for sure.
Even if people are making accusations, and I think part of how I responded was because I am already dealing with other trauma.
Mm,
I'm already dealing with some, other stuff that's been going on since I've been out here, losing friends. I brought a guy in to help with ministry. He ended up being a snake.
mm.
He ended up being like, just whatever, all over the place. And so dealing with that, dealing with many different things, dealing with the ex, and then now having to deal with family. So it was like
It was like,
many,
wait, like keep on coming at the beach.
yeah,
Stay, man.
many are the afflictions of the righteous, man. But the Lord delivers us from them all. So I'm stuck on the scripture that this post that went viral, man. Psalm 91. Psalm 91 is about trusting in God while we're in the wilderness, and having faith in Him, and making sure that we set our love upon Him, not the things of this world, because everything in the world is a little bit shifty, man. And you know, Psalm 91 is attributed to Moses, not David, and
Hmm.
you can imagine what Moses went through in the wilderness. Betrayal. He was dealing with Miriam, and all the
Yeah, his own
ratchet
family.
Israelites.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So but he's like, nah, man. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Most High. So there's the secret is always our relationship with God, man, because things are going to happen in life. Because there might be a fallout with family, and maybe you reconcile later. But I think as men of God, Victor, we are held to a little bit of a higher standard, and I think I was a little bit pissed off in my reaction, even though I was rightly, you know,
Hey, you could be angry, just can't sin. That's what the Bible says. Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right. But you feel me? You feel what
Yeah,
I'm
I
saying?
feel, you know what? I think what you said was what you did was a lot harder than the average person would do, whether they, they have the same Christian faith as you and I do, or they don't, right? You chose to still forgive, but now you put some, I call them, they're healthy boundaries between you and them now. Most
Yeah,
people, man, whether they believe just like we do or they do not, they fall
yeah,
into the category of straight unforgiveness, built up
yeah.
resentment, and they just carry that until they go to the grave. Most
Right,
people do that, man.
right,
And
right,
um, and I think, by God's grace, you went through, and here you are, man. You've been
right.
talking about it. You
Yes,
forgave
sir.
them,
Yes, sir.
but you're still covering them, even though they hurt you. And that's hard to do, man. That's what is it? Jesus said it's easy to love someone who loves you back. It's
Right,
harder. Like, what's the real test? Love someone who doesn't love you back the same way. Now that's
right.
something else.
Love your enemies, and my camera's malfunction. I rebuke that in Jesus' name. I hope it fixes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's it, man. It's just trying our best, man, to love when it's hard to love. I think that's again, everything boils down to that, man. Love and um, trying to walk in love. That's basically the Christian walk, man.
Yeah.
Even you're gonna go through things, man, but we learn from these experiences, and sometimes some people you're gonna have to love from a distance, and you know,
That's okay.
yeah, 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 you know, and you learn that people there's not much remorse. If there was, there would have been like, hey, let's squash this, but it's uh it's tough when you find out how people really are, but it's all good. I know that God gives us a victory, so they're gonna need you in the long run. They're like, oh, he's not here. And I know there have been plenty of moments like that for them already. Because I've been contacted by my brother's wife, by my other brother's wife. So, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna keep my distance for now, so
Hey, you got to do what you got to do, man. Unless they come to you with I call it a sincere apology, or
right.
really repenting for real. Like,
Exactly.
I mean, you could tell when it's sincere. You really can. And so,
Right, right.
but it's
Oh
all
yeah.
good, man. Yeah,
I was yeah, I was about to say I was looking out for that. Any sincerity, but
yeah.
no, not there yet. So
But the good thing is that your heart is you're remaining pure, and that's all, that's all Jesus right there, by the Spirit of God, and
yeah,
your heart is inclined to receive them when they're prepared to come and be
right,
sincere in their apologies. So that's a good
exactly.
thing. That's
Yeah, and Jesus said, "Love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you." So I'm trying to follow that model to love them from a distance, and pray for those who persecute you, man. It's a tough thing to do, but when you get to praying in the Spirit, then the Spirit will lead you on what to pray and how to pray.
absolutely, man. Totally agree. Well, Andrew, I want to thank you for coming on, for telling. This is a great comeback. It's deep. It's a deep but very relatable comeback story, because I know there's people listening and watching right now.
Yeah.
You went through betrayals. You know what it's like to be betrayed. I know what it's like to be betrayed. And
Yeah.
it's stories like this that remembers, hey, it reminds us that we gotta get our heart to a place where, okay, we're gonna set up some boundaries.
Yeah.
I must forgive so I can move forward and have closure. If I don't
Right.
forgive, I live in resentment. Built up
Right.
resentment through decades. I mean, it's just not healthy for your mental health. It ain't
Right.
healthy for your spiritual life and for your soul. Because, there's plenty of Christians take care of their spirit in church, right?
Yeah.
And, and maybe some of the population take care of their body when they're working out and hitting the gym and eating right. But
Mhm.
very few people care for the soul. And this right
Yeah.
here, you got to care for the soul. And this right here, do not let resentment build up, because your soul would pay the price.
So
You will
good.
feel it. But yeah, man. But my brother, I love you, man. Thank you for coming on the show and telling a great comeback story, man. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Hey, love you too, brother. God bless you anytime. And let's see you on the next one.
All right. God bless, bro. Peace.